Look at the woman of the Belle Epoque, corseted into an hourglass shape, burdened by layers of heavy skirts, adorned with feathers and frills. Her fashion was a cage, beautiful but restrictive. Now, look at the woman of the 1920s, liberated, comfortable, chic in a simple black dress, perhaps even wearing trousers. What happened? One woman happened. An orphan, a cabaret singer, a mistress. She rose from absolute poverty to become the single most influential fashion designer of the 20th century. This is the story of Coco Chanel and how she built a fashion empire from nothing. Her code wasn't learned in a Parisian salon. It was forged in the austere halls of an orphanage. Born Gabrielle Chanel in 1883, her childhood was marked by poverty and loss. After her mother's death, her father abandoned her and her siblings. For 7 years, she lived in the Aubazine Abbey orphanage run by strict nuns. It was a harsh, regimented life, devoid of color and luxury. But it was here, amidst the stark black and white habits of the nuns and the simple, functional architecture of the abbey, that she learned the skill that would define her life: sewing. And it was here that her aesthetic code began to form. Simplicity, clean lines, the power of black and white. These weren't fashion choices, they were the visual language of her survival. Her escape from poverty came not through marriage, but through ambition. She briefly worked as a seamstress, then tried her luck as a cabaret singer, performing for soldiers in provincial towns. It was during this time she acquired her nickname, Coco, possibly from a popular song she sang. More importantly, it was here she entered the world of wealthy men, becoming the mistress of the rich textile heir Etienne Balsan, and later the dashing English industrialist Arthur Boy Capel. This was her entry into high society, her real-life university. She wasn't just a kept woman, she was an anthropologist, closely observing the uncomfortable, impractical clothing of the aristocratic women around her, and contrasting it with the comfortable, functional elegance of men's sportswear. She saw a gap in the market. She saw opportunity. Her time with Balsan and Capel wasn't just about observation, it was about absorption. She embraced the equestrian lifestyle, learning to ride horses astride like a man, not side saddle. This experience directly influenced her designs. She started borrowing fabrics and silhouettes from men's riding gear and stable boy uniforms, simply because they were more comfortable and practical. She wasn't trying to make a fashion statement initially. She was solving a personal problem of wanting clothes she could actually live in. With the financial backing of Boy Capel, she opened her first shop in Paris in 1910, selling not elaborate gowns, but hats. Her designs were radically simple compared to the fussy creations of the time. Clean, elegant, and modern. They were an instant success among the fashionable elite. This gave her the confidence to expand. She opened boutiques in the resort towns of Deauville and Biarritz, catering to wealthy women looking for casual, comfortable clothing for leisure activities, a market traditional couturiers ignored. This was the beginning of her revolution. She took materials previously considered unfashionable or strictly utilitarian and transformed them. Jersey, a fabric used for men's underwear, became the basis for comfortable, chic dresses and blouses after she noticed its practicality during wartime fabric shortages. She borrowed elements directly from men's wardrobe: sailor tops, neckties, trench coats, and most radically, trousers. She cut her hair short, got a tan, and championed a boyish, androgynous silhouette. She wasn't just designing clothes, she was designing a new kind of woman, independent, active, and liberated from the constraints of the past. Her code was clear. Elegance comes from simplicity and freedom of movement. This philosophy extended to jewelry. She shocked society by mixing fake costume pearls and gemstones with real ones, believing that the value came from the design and the way it was worn, not just the intrinsic worth of the materials. This democratization of luxury was another key element of her code, making high fashion feel more accessible and modern. She was teaching women that style wasn't about flaunting wealth, but about expressing confidence. As her reputation grew, she returned to Paris and established her legendary couture house at 31 Rue Cambon. Here, she unleashed her most iconic inventions. In 1921, she launched Chanel No. 5. It was more than a perfume, it was a masterpiece of branding. While other perfumes had fanciful names and ornate bottles, No. 5 was minimalist, modern, and daringly abstract. The first perfume to use synthetic aldehydes for a scent that didn't mimic a single flower. Its simple, geometric bottle was a stark contrast to the trends of the day. It became, and remains, the best-selling perfume in the world, the financial bedrock of her empire. Then came the Little Black Dress, or LBD. Before Chanel, black was primarily the color of mourning or service staff. In 1926, Vogue published a sketch of a simple, elegant black Chanel dress, calling it Chanel's Ford, comparing its universal appeal to the Model T car. The LBD was revolutionary, versatile, affordable in concept, and undeniably chic. It democratized elegance, proving that style didn't depend on elaborate decoration, but on perfect cut and proportion. It became an essential uniform for the modern woman. Her final masterstroke of this era was the Chanel suit. Inspired by men's tailoring and sportswear, she adopted the comfortable, practical tweed fabric, typically used for men's jackets, into elegant suits for women. The collarless, braid-trimmed jacket paired with a slim skirt became another instant classic, a symbol of sophisticated, understated female power that remains iconic to this day. But just as her empire reached its zenith with the success of the Little Black Dress and the Chanel suit, the world plunged into darkness. During the Nazi occupation of Paris and World War II, Chanel made choices that would forever tarnish her legacy. She closed her renowned couture house, putting hundreds out of work, citing the war as the reason. However, she continued to live in luxury at the Hotel Ritz, which had become Nazi high command headquarters, and engaged in controversial relationships with German officers, most notably Baron Hans Gunther von Dinklage, a senior Abwehr intelligence operative. Her wartime activities remain shrouded in controversy and point to the darkest, most opportunistic side of her code. Evidence suggests she acted as Agent F7124, codenamed Westminster, undertaking missions for German intelligence, possibly attempting to use her connections to Winston Churchill for secret negotiations. More concretely, she attempted to use Nazi anti-Semitic Aryanization laws to wrest control of her lucrative perfume business, Parfums Chanel, the company producing Chanel No. 5, back from her Jewish partners, the Wertheimer family, who had financed its creation. This ruthless pragmatism prioritized her own survival and ambition above all else, revealing a willingness to collaborate with a monstrous regime for personal gain during a global conflict. After the war, facing accusations of collaboration, she spent years in exile in Switzerland. The fashion world moved on, embracing the overtly feminine, constricting new look championed by Christian Dior. Everything Chanel had fought against. Her reign seemed over. But in 1954, at the age of 71, she made a stunning comeback. She reopened her couture house in Paris, defying critics who called her irrelevant. Her first collection was initially panned by the French press, but American buyers loved its timeless, comfortable elegance. The Chanel suit became the uniform for a new generation of powerful women. Coco was back on top. Her comeback was fueled in part by her intense dislike for Dior's new look. She saw his designs, with their cinched waists, padded hips, and heavy skirts, as a betrayal of the freedom she had given women. She famously declared, "Dior doesn't dress women, he upholsters them." Her return was a reassertion of her original code, that modern fashion should serve the woman, not constrain her. She was fighting not just for her brand, but for her entire philosophy of style. She continued to work relentlessly, ruling her fashion empire with an iron fist until her death in 1971 at the age of 87. Her legacy is immeasurable. She didn't just create clothes, she created a way of life, and attitude. She took the limitations of her impoverished past, the simplicity, the functionality, the black and white, and turned them into the code for modern elegance. She built a global empire from nothing, proving that style, like power, comes not from ornamentation, but from confidence, freedom, and an unwavering vision. And that is the architecture of the empire of Coco Chanel. Remember, history is more than a story, it's a code, and there is always another layer to decrypt. Subscribe and continue the investigation with us.